Well, hello again, my friends. This is part two of the marketing mix looking at pricing strategies. And we stopped off from part one right in here. How do we maintain a high price? How do we position that? We need to position against our competition so we can charge a premium price. So let's look how we can do that. An excellent way is the competitive landscape table. The competitive landscape table basically puts your competition, and as many of you know, I did manage and was a minority owner of Glade Gardens in the 1990s, and we were a full-service garden center. And during this time, Southlake, Colleyville, even Grapevine, and some of the HEB was still developing very, very hard, and lots of new homes going in. And so we had a great opportunity to expand and grow our business. But we had three large competitors, Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot. And they came in really looking at this market to capitalize because, hey, if we can sell you lumber, if we can sell all the things you need and your plant material for your house, then you never leave our store versus coming to just a specific specialty store. So we put right in here, this was what we would call your critical success factors. What do you need to stay in business? And so all the things that we did was their service, design, installation, maintenance, the plant selection, specimen plant selection versus just standard, low price and high. Let's see where everyone was positioned. Well, Home Depot did not do, or Lowe's, or the big ones, they don't do service, design, or installation. We certainly did. We did the service, we did the landscape design, that was my specialty. And so we could go out and have a new constructed house, and we would do all the landscaping from design, installation, and even many times maintenance. Very few were competing in that space, and that's what this is. What space are we competing in? And so standard plant selection, well, sure, you can get just your basic shrubs or flowers at Home Depot, Lowe's, and Walmart, and I'll be honest, they've got a pretty good selection. But they don't carry the specimen plant selection. We were ordering from California all the way to Connecticut. We had a vast number of suppliers we could use, and so they were very instrumental in helping us build our business. And so the low prices, yes, that's what these big players do, but we went high price. Callaway's did too, so that was our nearest competitor, Callaway Nurseries, and then we had high prices. And so that allowed us, because we had all of these checkmarked, these success factors that at the time our customers wanted, we were able to really thrive in a very cutthroat environment. So, can you do this for your marketing plan? Again, pick out 2 or 3 of your competitors. Now, if you're doing Sophie's vegan food truck, all right, you can pick other food trucks that you might come across, or even restaurants. Food trucks is a little bit interesting because the research is a little difficult in the local area to find out what food truck is at what place. But certainly we could look at different restaurants and different catering. And since she's doing vegan, Latin American, and Tex-Mex food, I think she has a very interesting space where she's going to compete in, and I think she can get that high price. Again, the events, the parties, the great food and cuisine that she's going to have, match it up. That's some of the success factors. And if you're doing your own marketing plan, what is it going to take for you to be successful? That's just a critical success factor. Put it down there and see who else is doing it and where you can compete, where you can find your space. And a positioning map looks like this. It just sets it right in this area. There's the high price. There's your specimen services. This was the nursery business. This is all the garden retailers positioning map that we were competing against. Again, the big mass merchandisers were low price, low service. Okay, we were high price, high service, and Callaway's was next to us. But we felt we were different than most everybody else out there. There's a pretty cheap, I don't think they're in business anymore, but another independent garden center that just sold really cheap stuff. And so they did add some services. I think they delivered the product, and they were on the low price side. So this is where we were going to compete. So we could charge that high price, but we had to back up everything we did with the amazing set of services that our customers wanted. Well, what about this? Loss leading prices. I don't know if you've heard of this. This is a retail trick. Here we are, Walmart, $5 DVDs. I don't know who watches a DVD anymore. I think my player is still in the cabinet. I haven't used it, and it's a Blu-ray in a long time. But let's say $5. Do you think they're making any money off that? Walmart? Doubtful. Maybe $1. Now, these customers, did they come and just buy a $5 DVD? Probably not. They were probably buying their other items and see this and say, yeah, what the heck? I'll buy this. Generally, they're trying to lead you. Oh, there's other accessories. There's shoes right there. We're trying to lead you into the store. We're leading you in. We do not want you to leave the store. And again, trying to get more profitable goods. We try to upsell from here. And like this example. All right. Today only, get in here fast. A 24-inch flat screen TV for $29. And you're saying, hey, I got a small apartment, or maybe I want to put that in my kitchen so I can, have an extra monitor as I'm looking for my recipes and I'm cooking. That I could probably find a use for $29. My gosh, that's nothing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We just sold out of that. If you'd have been here earlier, we could have got. But don't leave. Check it out. How about this Samsung? Super ultra high definition, 4K, 55-inch. It's a curved TV. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you have that for $419. Regularly, these are, a couple years ago, they were somewhere around $1,000 and they came down quickly. But $419. Now, you did not have an inclination of spending that type of money. Wait a second. Don't worry. I got credit for you. I've got 6 months, no payments, no interest for you. Okay? And just a little aside here, 85% of the time, customers will owe the back interest because they can't pay it off in 6 months. But don't worry about that. That's 6 months. That's Randy 6 months from now, not Randy today. So you're off. You've got that in your trunk, or they're going to deliver it. Actually, you've just got that in the back of your car, and you go home wanting this and coming home with that. That is the loss leader. Now, that is supposed to be illegal, by the way, where you never have the one you wanted. But we always just say there was limited quantities, and we just sold out. So it's big time in the old retail world of brick and mortar. All of these considerations affect the pricing decisions, my friends. The internal factors, again, this should drive it. What is our marketing strategy? What are our objectives? Where are we positioning ourselves? Now, we don't live in a bubble. There are external factors. There's competition. That's pretty close, okay? And if they can undercut and get your customers over there and upsell them. So the nature of market and demand, all right? If it's a high demand product, we could probably sell it, maybe keep those prices high. If it's a low demand, for some reason, this is dynamic. It changes, and this is very dynamic. When it's a tight economy, maybe we do have to be a little more liberal with our pricing. When it's a strong economy, then we can be bold with it. So all these are external factors. Again, sometimes we just position a product on price as well. For instance, this is Honda's HR-V. The SUV style of automobile has been the #1 seller for the last couple of years, and that's never happened in the United States. It's always been the sedan type. And so Honda, foreseeing this several years ago, wanted to get an entry-level SUV, okay, and peg it under $20,000. Even though we know with tax, title, and license that thing is going to come closer to $22,000. And of course, if you wanted an air conditioner in there, then we're closer to $25,000. But just the idea of 1930, oh man, it's under 20 grand. I like that price. And basically, it's the Honda Fit, just a little bit longer. And again, we put that, if we can get that under $14,000 to $15,000, that's our entry level price point, and it can attract a first time buyer right into that market. So we set the ideal selling price, and then we design the product around that. Of course, if you want to go up, you can buy, the higher Honda products like the Honda Pilot. Pricing, who cares about pricing, man? All right, this is a little different. This is a non-price position that can be created to differentiate the marketing offer. This is the Vertu line of phones. Very popular in England. I think the company has been sold or maybe transpired, but in its day, this is where you went to get, if you can see the background right there, that's a Bentley. Okay, these phones are basically handcrafted either with the Droid operating system or the iOS operating system. And again, they're handcrafted in England. They certainly were. From 6,000 is your entry level to 16,000. You've got that beautiful $300,000 Bentley, and this phone syncs up with it. Make sure all your service appointments, anything going wrong with the car, it automatically notifies you, and also notifies the dealership so you can bring it in when you're driving your Bentley down the street. Again, we are looking for the utmost value. Now, of course, this is targeted to a very, very select amount of people. But at that price, it can be done for that. Now, there's competition-based pricing. All right, based on competitor strategies and prices and market offerings. Man, back in the day, these 40-inch flat screen TVs were very expensive. If we go back to the early aughts, they were incredibly expensive, in $4,000 to $5,000. Now, these right in here between Samsung and Vizio, probably in the $300 range. But it's a price war. Again, maybe we're trying to penetrate that market, or they're trying to penetrate that market. But what happens? Sometimes there's a race, what we call to the bottom. The quality. If you pick up a $300 flat screen TV, you're sometimes scared to move it in your home because you can just hear all the creaking of the plastic that it's going to break. And there's one or two HDMI slots. Of course, you can buy your Amazon splitters right in there and get more. But yeah, it's that race to the bottom. But that's what Dell did. And Dell computers, they used to be the best. Now there's some of the just most generic computers you can get. You used to be able to get them custom made. Again, they wanted to increase their market share, and they did. But the quality is nothing of what the company used to be. It's that race to the bottom. How about this? How about this type of TV? It's the high dynamic range. Last year, Consumer Reports said if you want the best, it's a 65-inch LG. It's for $8,000. You're supposed to be able to see a billion colors here. Now they've got this to a standard contrast, and when they put them side by side, okay, that does look pretty amazing. But just take that out, and you would probably say, hey, that looks pretty amazing by itself. Are you ready to spend that much? Well, so far it has not. At that price point, the sales have been pretty flat. What will it take you to want to buy that TV? Cut it in half, 4,000? Yikes! In today's market, it's what we're going through. Luxury items, my friends. Again, we're buying utilitarian items that we can survive on for right now. $2,000. $1,000. Okay, 65-inch, $1,000, $999 high dynamic range. Maybe that brings that middle adopter there. All right, the kind of little bit after the early adopter, that mainstream adopter to get in here. Right now, it's definitely an innovator who's going to pay that type of price for a TV. Price elasticity of demand. Okay, this is interesting. If you've taken economics, and economics always, in my opinion, and forgive me for economics majors out there, or an economics professor that's just kind of looking at this, it seems to be made in a vacuum. Marketing is not a vacuum because competitors come in and they hit you so hard. But there's something called demand. The elasticity of it. So, inelastic demand means demand does not change within a price change in price. So let's say lettuce. All right, California iceberg lettuce. Generally, it's $1.99 for a nice crisp head of lettuce, and this weekend it's 99 cents. So we've cut the price in half, which means, wow, how much do we have to sell to get back to profitability? Remember, if it's at a 40% gross margin pricing, then we have to double the sales. We have to sell at least twice as much. Are you ready to buy 4 or 5 heads of lettuce at 99 cents? Maybe. If you're having a lettuce party, this weekend, and Vegans Unite, come on over. What's interesting, most vegans that I know, and I'm going back to veganism, don't eat a lot of salad. So, maybe you buy an extra one. Maybe not. It's just, what if it went to $2.49? You probably would still buy your one head of lettuce a week or a month or however you. Probably has not a lot of change in the demand on there. Elasticity says if you do change the price greatly, the demand changes as well. So if we lower the price of an object that we do like, we're more apt to buy a lot more of it. Right now, if toilet paper for probably 16 rolls of extra large Charmin were $10, I guess you would call that a package. My God. Then we'd buy 20 packages, wouldn't we? We're in a crazy demand for toilet paper and for any type of cleaning product or hand sanitizers. That's when things go crazy. That's not demand. That is panic. Yeah, and hardcore speculation. So again, lower the price, the higher demand. All right, if we really raise the price, it would be lower demand. But it's a better profitability. Now, this is a business. Again, I have my own landscape services business as well, and you can do very well, my friends. It's coming springtime, and just driving around today a little bit. A lot of companies out there doing very well. Let's say we have 100 customers at $75 a week, and gives which is a nice price. We do $7,500 a week. That's pretty good. Now this is work, my friends. This is not selling a product. This is working to your aching in your bones. What if we change that price to 40? You say, I'm going to try this elasticity thing of demand. I'm going to charge a cheaper price. Well, just to make the 7,500, you would have to increase 87 more customers. So now you're just breaking even for what you did. You had a nice thing going, you lowered it. You would need 300 customers. We're doing it to make more money at 40 a week to get 12,000 a week. Okay, now that is a pretty good size number right there. But what about your costs? I mean, you went from 100 to 300. You probably had to hire more. You definitely had to hire more crew. You're taking a beating on your equipment. And let's be honest, it's a hassle now managing 300 customers. Now, you may be fine with that, but that doesn't always lead to automatic tremendous amounts of profitability because there's so much more work added in a service business. I, on the other hand, would say, what if I raised my price to $100 a week and I went down to 75 customers? Well, I still have 7,500 a week. And I'm adding more services in, and I have I have lower price, I have lower costs because I'm not running my equipment to the ground, and maybe I don't need as much labor intense. So interesting ways to think about that. In a service, be careful of lowering your prices because you're going to have to work a whole lot harder just to maintain what you did, and really harder to do a lot of increase. Again, we just looked at the factors of impacting pricing. The boom, the inflation, the consumer confidence. We're in a very sketchy time right now, but we will come out of it. And when we do come out of this, my friends, again, we're gonna do what Americans do. We love to buy, okay? We love to spend our money. We love to create. We love to do lots of stuff. We love to relax. We love to go to movies, and et cetera, et cetera. So while it's pretty bleak right now, we'll have to look forward to where it all comes back. And again, what type of psychology will we have after this? Well, it will be interesting. It will be definitely interesting the way we travel, the way we spend money, the way we do things. It'll have some lasting effects. We know that. New product pricing. Well, you've got this new product. You're now a brand manager or a marketing manager of an organization. And you've got fashionable products. You've got really cool stuff. What do we want to do? Most of that will do a market skimming, which means we are trying to set that price high, which I want you to do. Set it high, all right? And that way, you're not trying to penetrate. You're trying to get as much profit as possible. And we may make fewer products, but it's a very profitable sales. We're trying to find those segments who will pay the high price. Just remember, it is much easier to lower your price over time than raise them. And in the market we are in, even before that, it's very difficult to raise your prices. We can't be like Steve Carell from The Office. I think I'm going to need some more money. You're just not paying me enough. I need to go back and raise my prices on you. Doesn't work that well. Other new product strategies. Hey, maybe we're making a consumable item. Perhaps it's a car. Perhaps it's something that we know it's a manufacturing item that we know when we manufacture it more, we get better, we get smarter. It's called the learning curve pricing. And so right now when we price it, this is going to be our price and these are our costs on it. And so it's like I'm losing money, I'm getting better, I'm getting better, I'm getting better. Okay, because we know once we sell, let's say 100,000 of the product and we think this price will get it to us, we keep manufacturing and we keep getting better and more efficient at the manufacturing and the selling and all the costs into that with our experience. Maybe this is at year 3 or 4, but now we're really getting some, doing very, very well. We believe our cost over time can come down to here. We know it's going to start out here. We're not pricing it up here. We're pricing it right here where we will lose money, but in the years to come, it will be a very profitable item. Increasing market share, market penetration. Let's look at Netflix. In January of 2015, we had 52 million subscribers in Netflix. Netflix, they lowered their prices a little bit and they gave away the service too. Nothing wrong with that 1 month free. It really hooked a lot of people in, didn't it? In 2017, almost double, 94 million. I think they're over 100 million right now in 2020. So it means they really have doubled it in that time frame. Been 5 years. Are you ready for an increase? Okay. That can be interesting. Oh my gosh, yeah, they did 158 million in 19, so they tripled it. So you're paying $12 for your Netflix per month. Would you go to 14? Would you stop at 14? Would you say I'm bailing out? Well, you think, my gosh, man, a movie, a brand new movie, of course, at the movie theater, when we're able to go back and watch them, is about what, $7.50 a ticket. So that's 2 tickets if you and a friend go, and you get anything to eat and drink. It's well over $20 now, and that's for one movie. You kind of think in those rationale. Would you cut out at $16? What if they charged $20 a month? Yes, they would lose some, but would they lose enough to really dent their profitability? Because they're going to get more profits if they raise, even if they lose maybe 10%, because we could probably lose 15, 20% and still be profitable. Interesting. That's our price sensitivity. Now, promotional pricing. If this class were taught in the fall, we would be coming up to the biggest promotion of the year, and that would be the Christmas sales. All right, certainly between November and December, most retailers are in the red. And when I say most retailers, like your fashion retailers, Dillard's, Macy's, Nordstrom's, they just survive enough until Gap, until that time, because 70% of their sales will come from Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, to Christmas Eve. So all sorts of promotion, discount every day, store busters, etc., etc., etc. But Macy's really tends to do this all year long. Hey, it's the lowest price of the season. Come on in and get something. It does short-term peak sales, but psychologically speaking, doesn't it just train people to only purchase on sale? I'm going to go to Macy's and get a shirt, a blouse, a dress, a pair of pants. Well, why? No, I'm not going to go until they have sale. They'll probably have a sale coming on Thursday. Interesting. Be very careful. Big hitters do it. On our smaller businesses, be very careful. Instead of lowering price, maybe add an extra service. Remember, buyers' behavior in marketing, so much psychology. If we can take emotion out, take out that emotion, it's so much easier to sell to. It becomes a very quick response. When you use your Gap card, 40% off today. I mean, come on, man, you've got to use it. And I'll give you an extra 10% as well. Apple has interest-free financing through their Barclay card. Now, I know they have their own Apple card now that may be running through Barclay. That is, 1 year, no interest payments at all for that Mac that you buy. Again, just be careful because they will backdate that interest if you haven't paid it off in that 1 year. The average American family since the year 2007 has been spending over 100% of monthly income. It's about 120% for the last, we're talking 13 years, maybe even before that. It's a crazy personal finance system that we live into. Oh, by the way, let me just put myself out there. In the fall, I will be teaching a personal finance class. I teach it online. I'll actually teach it on the campus right before this class. Well, on Monday, Wednesday mornings at 9:30. So, we'd love to see you in the class, and we'll learn some things about that. So, this has been crazy. How do you spend over 100%? Right here, your financing. We do make it easy, but it's also very easy to get underwater real quickly in our debt, my friends. Take out the emotion again. How many of us have that Starbucks app? Just a couple? Just a few? You got one too? Oh, great, great. Yeah, I do too. I love it. Haven't had Starbucks too much. I don't know if they're open right now. Maybe their drive-thru is open, but I'm too scared to get out of my house. So, but this is pretty amazing. Starbucks revenues range from about 15 to 18 billion a year. That's their sales. 30% of the revenue comes from that app, which means 30% of that revenue is being prepaid. That's like $5 billion that's been repaid on that. So prepaid on that. So that's pretty amazing. Wouldn't you love that in your business, to have your money before you even sold the product or created that service? Interesting things right there. Initiating price changes, my friends. The reason we cut, of course, all right, could be falling demand, the weakened economy. Maybe we price cut just to kill out the competition. If a small young company comes in, and the big company that's been there for a long time has a lot of capital and says, oh, you want to compete against me? Well, let me just cut my price below yours, and then I'll just make sure you get out of business. And of course, we've just talked about that, inflation, demand, price gouging for years. The oil companies were really price gouging us. Right now, oil is somewhere around $30 a barrel. Because now this is our longtime friend, is the House of Saud right here, the royal family from Saudi Arabia. And Russia, between Saudi Arabia and Russia, they're competing against each other to see who can dominate the oil markets. And all that means is they're increasing their production, which is lowering prices, and it's really putting a hit to the U.S. oil companies. But hey, we can finally afford to fill up our tank without crying anymore. Price discrimination. Now, this is supposed to be illegal. Okay, can we discriminate against prices? For instance, airlines, tickets. They're probably the most notorious industry to do this. This person, he bought his ticket to go to New York City like 4 weeks ago. He paid $364. This businesswoman, she got a call that she needed to be in New York City by 5 o'clock, and so she goes and buys that ticket the same day. It's $500. There's that seat. It's the same seat. It's not a first class ticket. They're the same coach. They're going to the same place. It's the same airplane. And yet every price is probably different. Oh, you want to sit by the window? That's an extra $50. Okay, I guess you make the argument that's a little bit different seat. Oh, no, you want the aisle seat? That's going to be extra. How about that nice middle seat? Coffee. Interesting how it's very legal for some industries to do this. And of course, insurance. Most of you in my classes are pretty young, and so you're going to pay the highest insurance out there. We look at credit scores, look at gender, age, race, geography. These are what the biggest insurance companies do. It seems to be very unfair, but if you are a 20-something year old, under 25, minority male, you're going to pay the highest car insurance, 50% more than all others. Now, Consumer Reports did a very in-depth article, and they looked at the pricing here, and the insurance agencies or the insurance companies were saying, well, this person right here just is going to be a bigger risk, and so we have to, that's what insurance is. You're trying to mitigate your risk, so we have to charge a higher price because they're a higher risk of car accidents, possible death, and tickets and things like that. But that's not the case with with Consumer Reports. He said, really, these for the most part, this demographic group has some of the safest driving, and they take care of their cars immaculately. So you're using bad data. Well, it didn't do anything to the insurance companies. And so we can see right in here, there's your 20s, your death. But as you're older, it peaks right back up too. And this demographic pays the lowest price. Now, the highest risk of car drivers that get the most tickets and are in the most wrecks are white females between 35 and 55 who have recently been divorced. That throttle is all the way, that pedal is all the way to the floor. It is full throttle right there. So interesting how price discrimination works and how large corporations can simply get away with it. Reaction to the changes? You know what? You're coming in, Seattle's Best came in the late 90s, early aughts, and they were good coffee. They're still around. Venue, but a lower price than Starbucks. Well, Starbucks said we can do two things. We can lower our prices, which we really don't want to do, or we can just buy you out. And they did. They bought Seattle's Best in 2003. They're a lower price point, so you're our knockoff brand. Okay, great. Keep what you're doing. We're the premium. You're the knockoff. We'll get our customers both ways. Pricing for services. Many of you, if you open up a business, will probably you can easily open up a service business. Okay, because again, you can do it out of your home, your backyard. Very low cost opening up a service. So, can you add value pricing to your service? Now, I did mention that I was responsible for landscape design for Glade Gardens, and we know we kind of ad hoc'd that together, which just means we just flew by the seat of our pants, and we said, wow, so many people are coming in. Tell you what, we will basically do $150 for a landscape design. And basically, this is what it looked like. All the materials you're going to need, and we did a pricing list and told you, for the whole project. And for a while, it was working great until I got burned by a friend of a friend. And so, don't ever do business with friends. And it was our biggest project. It was going to be about $30,000 because we had to have a pool put in. So we subcontracted out pool and patio work. We had irrigation coming in. It was a massive design. It was a brand new home in a very nice neighborhood in the Colleyville area. And this was it. And it was going to be in January. So it was a great time for us to do it before the big spring season hit. And I had done so much work, and was really proud of this project. And we were starting on a Monday in January, and we were pulling all the amazing plant selection. I get a phone call from the wife, and she says, "Hey, Randy, well, we found a landscaper down the road who can do this for a lot less money, so we're going to go with him. But thank you for all the work you did," and hung up. Yeah, you learn lessons in life, and that was a tough one to swallow because we had charged almost nothing. I mean, $150 at the time. Yes, it is in the 1990s, so that's maybe $300 still. And I noticed some other customers doing the same thing. I went back and looked at some of the designs I had done, and we weren't getting the business. I mean, the full installation, but they were going to different areas. It's always good to have a diversity of friends, my friends. And I mean more than just because we are looking a little bit different, but how do you think differently? I was, crying, upset of what had happened, and my sister runs an arts council, and so we're talking. I visited her the next weekend, and yeah, my big boss, who was the big owner, we were both upset. We knew we'd made a mistake, but we'd put so much work into that, and so. Talking with some artist friends of hers, she said, "Well, Randy, what this is artwork in our opinion, and so here's how we charge. We charge a high upfront price that they have to commit to, and then we get paid in different installments. And so you should charge a whole lot more from that, and then you can maybe give them a credit if they do business with you." And so all of a sudden I go, "Wow, look, let's put that into practice." So all of a sudden, the new strategy, which went into effect like a week later, was a $1,000 landscape package. That was our minimum price. Now, we will give you, out of that, once we're finished with it, $700 will be credit for materials. Because you could go to a certified landscape architect. Very few people are going to pay just $1,000 for a design. Okay, $700 is right in there for your materials. Okay, again, that takes some pain out of that price. Again, my friends, this is in 1995, so be asking like $2,000 or $3,000 now, but having 70% of that for your materials. $1,000, we'll credit everything back. If we do the project, because these projects are going to be around $10,000 to $12,000, then that is just subtracted from your final price. So essentially, it is free. That's how we repositioned it. Customers perceived a higher value, and even better than that, we were able to we protected our work, and we weeded out marginal customers. There's always someone coming in, hey man, can you give us a landscape design, and running off with it. So those people are like, oh no, we can't afford that. So we got better projects, we got better customers. It went right in line of our marketing when we were changing over to a very prestigious garden center. So think about that. Don't undercut yourself. Get your high price, and then again, ease it by saying, hey, you know what? I'll give this back as a credit if you use my services, and then it can all be credited back because the projects are going to be a large amount of money. Protecting your work and pricing your service.